Okay, here we have a vehicle just designed to get to Mun and come back to Kerbin, just using basic parts. At the bottom we've got 4 T45s. These are T45s because the early part of the launch we want to be able to control the ascent pretty well. Otherwise the thing will just tip over, particularly as it's quite skinny and tall. In the middle we've got another T45 for effectively the second stage, but actually these solids kick in as well to give it a little bit more extra boost. And when they run out, then it's the final ascent stage, and leaving us just this top section to get to Mun and back. Some goo on board, and that's about it. Now, the first thing I'm going to do is wait for a good time to launch. So we want to go here. Now, the best time to launch to go to Mun is when it is sitting around that point from the perspective of the ship that you're launching from. Because what it means is you can take off and you get to Apo and you can just keep going straight for, well, just keep heading in a prograde direction. And that will just happen to get you an intercept right at Mun. But we are here. So we want the moon to be right about here. So we're going to time warp for a bit and get that lined up. Okay, nearly there, just a little bit further around. So around about there. So we're on the surface. We want to get to there, and if we line them up with the side of the planet, they're perfectly lined up. You can see it from here. And now we can launch. Okay, launch for this thing's pretty normal. Doesn't go particularly fast, so we can keep it at full thrust for the main part. You can see it's pretty stable. And when these run out, we'll get rid of them, and then we'll switch to these boosters. And this central engine will be on, but we'll cut it right back, and these guys will do all the power. The 45 down here is just for steering at that point until these run out. So I'm throttling right back. You can see those two stages have taken us all the way up to maybe 14,000. power up this engine again, and that should get us high enough. We can let the velocity drift down a bit here because we're already pretty high. I'm just going to go straight for 45 degrees here, not going to try and do anything clever. And I'm running Kerbal Space Engineer here so I can see Apo without having to switch sides. And now we're over 35, so we're pretty much out of the heavy part of the atmosphere, so I can pull up to full throttle. And hopefully there's the moon sitting there waiting for us. So I won't need to circularize here. I don't need to get to orbit. I can go straight for it, hopefully. Once Apo's over 70 now, turn off the engines and we'll set up a maneuver node just to confirm that we are actually heading in the right direction. The maneuver node wants to be right here on top of Apo. And we're going prograde, straight from there all the way to the moon, going in that direction. Burn, 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 burn. Maybe not that much. And you can see we're not quite right there. So these are the intercept points here. We're going to arrive here, it's going to be here. So we need to start this process a little bit early. Oh, there's the intercept. So I just moved it around. Oop. Crap. Not sure what I did there. Altered the normal and anti-normal a little bit, but anyway, we've got an intercept which is pretty low. Because I brought the orbit down a bit. Okay, well that's 92. Spent too long screwing around with that, so I'm going to have to go now. So even though I'm heading straight for Mun, I'm not actually going to go straight toward it. I'm going to where it's pointed at now, but obviously it's going to orbit around Kerbin, and so am I. So we're going to get there. No, we're not going to get there. This is just not going to work out. It took too long. Yeah, no, let's just try that one again, shall we? This time we'll try not to mess it up quite so badly. So once again, let's get the moon in the right position. Here it comes. And SAS on. There's where we're heading, straight in front of us. Okay, so these are going to get discarded. We're going to switch on the solids and throttle down the main engine, which is this one in the middle. So these guys get us over 14,000 meters, which means we're high enough now that in the thinner part of the atmosphere, so this little engine can do all the work now without much fuss. And now we just wait for Apo. Okay. Entered the thinnest part of the atmosphere, so I'm happy to pull this up to full throttle now. Not going to be finding much atmospheric drag at this altitude. And now we're going to plot an intercept again. Try and do it a little bit more quickly this time. There we go. There's the intercept there. Periapsis is 61. Can be there in 44 seconds. Should have started that burn a little bit early. So this is going to be a circularization burn effectively, but also take us all the way to Apo hitting the moon. So this is also the lunar injection burn. Which is why it's full 2 minutes worth of burning. This guy's not going to have enough juice to do it. So once it's out, we start up the other one. So there you go, there's orbit. But we're going to keep going. Keep pushing it out. This is pretty inefficient too, because you can see we can actually go outside the edge of the Ooh. Wrong key. Okay. Gonna have to correct a little bit here. How much fuel? The we're gonna escape trajectory. Great. We're gonna have to bring this back in a little bit. So let's say around here we just sneak it back in and see if we can get that intercept back. There. So there's 100 meters per second of DV needed to fix that mess that I just made. So let's not wait around, and let's just do that now. The only thing I wanted to confirm there was that there was enough to do it. So tip is to not hit the wrong key. So I'm burning retrograde now just to bring this orbit back in and get these intercepts to get somewhere in the vicinity of each other. So these 2 points say the closest point of the target or the closest intercepts to the target orbit and our orbit. And you can see that we've got an encounter here, which means we're going to enter the sphere of influence of Mun. We're actually going to get captured by its gravity, and so we've got a new periapsis, which is the one around Mun. And we don't have an apoapsis yet because we're just going to be passing by it. Now, that's 1,000,000 meters. We need it to be less. So I'm just giving little pulses on the engines. And blew it again. Normally I would do that with RCS thrust. But, alright, so we're actually going to impact them now. Let's get over there and see what happens. Once I get inside its sphere of influence, I can make another little adjustment. Still got some fuel left. 900 meters per second of fuel, which is enough to get home. This point here is when we are inside the sphere of influence of Mun. still quite a far away from it. But we're going to pass really quite close. In fact, so close that we're going to be inside it. So let's just see if we can do a little bit of an adjust here so that doesn't happen. It's going to be a little push over because I don't have enough fuel to do anything major. There you go, just a bit of a lateral burn. And a little bit of a lateral burn and we'll miss. Still pass by pretty low. 44 meters per second. And once again, I'm not going to wait, I'm just going to do this right now. Because look, it's just a case of going that way, so we miss. As soon as we see periapsis, oh, 7,000 meters, that's quite a nice height for Mun. Some of the mountains are pretty high. So we were going to go straight into the crust. What I've done is giving us a little sideways boost there, so we actually miss it and go around the back. Kerbin's there. We'll get an escape over here, and then we can just use the remaining juice we've got to get our Kerbin periapsis just a bit closer. Okay, let's go and see Mun. If you're not landing on Mun, you don't need a lot of fuel once you're out this far. And even the return, Kerbin does a lot of the work for you. Through gravity. So once you're outside the sphere of influence of Mun, Kerbin will pull you back towards it. So you just need a bit of fuel just to adjust the orbit so you get inside the atmosphere. Small bitch there. Okay. I'm going to change the orientation of this so it looks a bit more like we're supposed to be here. Be careful not to use up too much electricity doing this stuff. There's no solar panels on this. This electricity is what's used to turn the ship when the engines are off, just using reaction wheels. They all use up a bit of energy. And we're going to scrape the surface at around 7 kilometers. Now this is Mun, but we're still pretty high, so you can't see many features. But there is weird things on Mun, so we should keep our eyes open. Nice big crater here. Big crater over there. Okay, that was it. That's periapsis. Remember, periapsis is the lowest point of an orbit. The apoapsis is, well, we're not captured. Oh, look, photo op. I'm hitting F1 a lot here. It's canyon sorts. I haven't got a map with me, so I don't know what these features are called. Now it takes around 200 meters per second to get into orbit around Mun. Depending on your starting position, really. Which is really just a retrograde burn. But you got to kind of do it at peri, not now, because obviously we're just going to impact. So we'd have to jiggle it around. What's that? 270. It's probably still enough to get home. Okay, I'm going to try and set up a... I'm talking to Alex on IM. I'm kind of also talking to Alex in this recording. Okay, well, let's just see if we can get this into orbit. Ooh, there's an orbit. Didn't take much. The vessel's still got 689. And to come to Kerbin, you do burn this way. Ooh. Oh no, hang on, we're retrograde. Do a burn this way. See how close we've cut this. 475. See, there's plenty to get home. Takes hardly anything to get back. So now we've got an orbit, we can go around again. Now what it's going to take to circularize at some preposterously low altitude, so we can take a look at the surface. Not much really. Right, well, let's go around again. Okay, 3 minutes to this retro burn. Let's just move things along a little. There we have an orbit, more or less. There's a surface. You can just about see some of the scatterings. Let's change the screen rotation a bit. Might as well do some science whilst I'm here. Where are we? In space. Hardly any science because we've done this already. No science, done that one already. Ah, okay, let's take this thing home. Now, you want to go this way. Moon travels to the right of the screen. So if we go left, I've got a retrograde orbit, so I'm going at the back. If you're going prograde around Moon, you go at the front. You head in the opposite direction, which means you get a little bit of the Moon slowing you down, which means you can make Kerbin orbit a little bit easier than trying to take off in any other direction. Okay, so this is going to take get around to 35 to get captured. It's going to take 344 meters per second delta V, and we've got 500 stacks. So even with an orbit. So let's get set up. This blue marker tells us which direction we need to be facing, so that when we get to the point that we do this burn, at this point here, the maneuver, as long as we're pointing this direction now, we'll be pointing in the right direction once we get there. Then it's just a case of burning. So let's spin around the planet, Moon, the big crater over there. The atmosphere looks excellent with this astronomer pack. And we're going to be getting into the dark side now. 16, 14. 6, 5, 4, 2, 1. 39 seconds. Just get nicely lined up. We want this burn to be pretty accurate, but we've got quite a lot of fuel, so even if we make a mistake, it's fine. Okay, so that puts out an escape trajectory from Moon. We leave there. We're no longer in its gravitational sphere of influence. We'll be back in Kerbin's sphere of influence. Our pose there. Periapsis is gone. Somewhere inside the planet. So we'll have to do a bit of an adjust. So we can probably just do a bit of a prograde burn maybe. Just to not quite crash straight into the planet. Not that much. There you go, 31. Just only a little bit of a burn just to sort it out. So this is prograde burn, so I'm burning toward Kerbin. But because I'm sort of out a bit, I'm going to go around the back. Pulses. Look at that, periapsis of 100 meters. 1,000 meters, 2,000. Yeah, 34,000 is fine. And we can switch to map view now and watch it come in. Whoop. Automatically switches off time warp when you're about to enter the atmosphere. Here we are back home. Is there any dew value here? A little bit. Crew report value. A little bit. Okay. I'm going to use this last bit of fuel just to shed some of my velocity. Might as well. That was all that was left. How much? Okay, still heading for the ground. Just going to drop this bit off. Don't need it anymore. Cheers. Oh. God, for a moment there I thought we weren't going to re-enter. It's just going to take a long time to get around. And in the mountains again by the look of it. Oh, dark side landing again. Okay, we're going to re-enter again in a minute. The first re-enter didn't shed enough of our velocity. That's where I landed before, on the mountains. Oh, highlands they are, not mountains. They look pretty mountainy to me, but that's how it came out. $10,000 meters. Plus the part that gives me the readouts. So I'm probably this one a bit carefully. Because it's dark. and mountainy. I reckon that's probably good enough. Yes. So even though I'm 2,500 meters up, these mountains are about 2,000 meters. Sunset, moonrise. Sunset, moonrise. Eight point 8 meters per second. Kunk. Okay, you get out. Go 9 sides. Oh, where am I? Ah, this is mountains. Okay. Real mountains. Okay, in you go. Cover vessel. $36 science. Oh, I've got tons of science. I can get the science junior. Where are the radial solar panels? Comms. Oh, I've got them already. Okay, we'll just edit Minacy 2 and put in a science lab. Get that off there. Science stuff. Get this, stick it under there. Get this, join it back on. I can put this on here now. It might be a bit heavy for a single parachute, but we can stick other ones on it. Lunacy 2. There you go. So this whole thing is the thing that comes back to Kerbin. Cool. There you go. There's a quick how to get to Mun back. Not a lander. That's the next step. This one is just getting to orbit around so you can check it out, get some science, and get back to Kerbin safely. So you could probably enhance this a little bit just to stick a lander on top. Next time. See ya.